You guys seem like nice guys, right?
Yeah.
Al Sharpton is one of the most corrupt.
I'm sorry. I do.
Al Sharpton is one of the most corrupt, evil, selfish, dishonest people I've ever met.
Is that right?
On this side of heaven. And unlike Martin Luther King Jr., Al Sharpton is pushing evil.
Yeah.
And he's doing it to use Black Americans to keep them angry so he can control them rather than showing them how to be of love and go free. How do you guys work with a man like that? You're the president of the National Action Network. That's Al Sharpton's group, right?
That's right. I'm actually the Western Regional Director, which oversees most of the West Coast for Reverend Sharpton.
How did that happen?
Well, I was introduced to Reverend Sharpton, I guess, around 12 years ago. I've been a part of the organization for that long. And from that day, from the introduction, he just has dedicated his life to be one of my mentors and one of my confidants and leaders.
Okay. Yeah. Were you raised by your father and mother?
I was raised by my mother and father. Which
your father was in the home?
No, yeah, my father was not in the home, but my father has played a very big part of my life.
Oh, okay. So you were born out of wedlock?
I was born out of wedlock.
And I read that you grew up in South Central, is that right?
I grew up in South LA. I'm a product of the community. Went to Locke High School in South Los Angeles.
Locke High School is so bad.
Yeah, I know.
You need like armor and a bodyguard and the whole police force just to go to school. And Reverend Mosley, you are the vice president of Al Sharpton Group, the National Action Network.
Yes, sir.
How did that come about?
Basically, because of being in ministry and having met with Reverend Toulis, I met Reverend Sharpton years ago when I was living in Oakland. I used to work for MC Hammer, and we were the first place that late, great James Brown came out when he was released from prison. So I had a very brief meeting with Reverend Sharpton, and then to find out that he had organized a civil rights movement, and then coupled with Reverend Toulis, it kind of merged in together.
So you worked for Hamilton?
Yes, sir.
And what did you do for him?
I was vice president of his operations in Oakland.
Really?
Yes.
Right on. You a minister. Were you called by God, or did you go to school to be a preacher?
I was called by God, and then I went to school.
Are you married?
I was.
And you have children?
Yes, I do.
What happened to your wife?
She decided she wanted to go a different direction.
Was this before you became a preacher or after?
I was after.
Oh, really?
Yes.
The wife left the preacher?
Yes.
Why?
She wanted to be more materialistic than I did.
Yeah. It's hard time finding a good wife right now, huh?
Yeah, well, the Bible even said that.
What did it say?
He that findeth a wife finds a good thing.
So maybe God knew that we weren't going to find one.
Well, maybe it wasn't a good thing.
If you get one, you lucked out.
Yeah, if you get a good thing, you're lucky.
Yeah. I want to ask, what is the purpose of the National Action Network?
Well, let me say, National Action Network was founded in 1991 by our leader, the Reverend Al Sharpton. It was founded in the spirit of Dr. King. We are a modern civil rights organization. We help protect the rights and help people to protect the rights of social justice, whatever they might find themselves within. Our organization is designed to really be there for the people. We're an organization that believes in action. That's why action is our middle name, National Action Network. And ultimately, we're there to really protect the rights of all people, regardless of color, creed, whatever you're dealing with. Our organization, we're there to help you get down and dirty and get things going.
I noticed that, over the years, Al Sharpton, you guys seem like nice guys, right?
Yeah.
Al Sharpton is one of the most corrupt,
I'm sorry. I do.
Al Sharpton is one of the most corrupt, evil, selfish, dishonest people I've ever met.
Is that right?
On this side of heaven. Al Sharpton divided and stirred up the races like no one else by lying and pretending that Black Americans are suffering due to racism.
Yeah. You don't believe that?
You don't believe that?
Al Sharpton has, along with Barack Obama, has managed to divide the races like no one else in the history of America. We're more divided today than any other time.
I don't agree with that.
In the history of America.
No, sir.
And then Al Sharpton, unlike Martin Luther King Jr., Al Sharpton is pushing evil.
Yeah.
And he's doing it to use black Americans to keep them angry so he can control them rather than showing them how to be of love and go free. How do you guys work with a man like that?
I mean, at the end of the day,
and then you're preachers.
Yeah, so but we really appreciate you doing your homework, and I'm sure you made a lot of money off of Reverend. I saw your book out there. But at the end of the day, you describe Rev in a whole lot of adjectives, and we can describe Rev as being a loving, genuine, always there for people, is always on the front line for African American people and all people. I've seen Rev give his last. He's always there for families in need. Not only is he there for families in need, he's there for, again, America. And he's loved here in Los Angeles. He's loved with me. He has reformed himself. He has learned from a lot of things that he's done in the past, and he has put forth those into lessons in teaching myself, teaching a lot of our leadership throughout National Action Network. So Reverend Sharpton has come a long way.
You said that he reformed himself. Has he apologized for all the destruction he's caused in America?
He's caused a lot of good.
No. You're not answering the question. I said, has he repented for that?
Well, I mean, listen, Jesse. The reality is Rev is committed to fighting for social justice of all people. Because I don't know what you're trying to get at.
Oh, has he repented for all the wrongdoing he's doing?
You can ask him that.
I don't know if I can answer for his repentance, because repentance is personal. But I would definitely disagree with your statement. In 1968, before the death of the late Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., he was the most hated man in America. They accused him of being a divider. I think that America is a conglomerate of hypocrites, because now, in the wake of social media, your show and other shows, now everybody's able to pull their mask off and really say what they've been harboring and holding in for years. Everything that you mentioned as a divide has been black. What about the evangelicals that are supposed to be so holy and righteous?
What about them?
They're the ones supposed to have the answer to America's problems and ills, and they produce more hatred.
Like whom?
The Republicans, your white ministries. I was in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Remember the Oklahoma bombing? And there was a gentleman there, Pastor Dan Schaefer, big church, mega church. He opened up the doors of his sanctuary, a lot of doors. He said, I've been wrong in a lot of the things that I've done, and I've not engaged in the entirety of the community, black, brown, and white. And those of you that cannot come and worship with our black and brown brothers, you can leave now. Almost 40% of his church got up and left. So when you start talking about who's dividing the country, can't pinpoint and just say it's a black issue. It is an American issue.
But Al Sharpton and others, because they're black, they have done more damage to black people, because there are some blacks out there who believe them and follow them, and they go down the road of destruction. I don't know about this guy you just mentioned. Are the race cards stacked against black people?
Always has.
No, are they stacked against black people today?
Always has.
And you say yes to?
Of course.
Always has.
Give me examples of how they're stacked against black people.
From an economic standpoint.
Explain
the
that.
Jobs.
Explain that.
On jobs.
Explain that.
On jobs. You look at the job market. Right now, you have African Americans that have been in positions, and rather than keeping them and or elevating them, they're giving African American early retirements and buyouts. We have a group of professional African American people that are losing homes because in their buyout, they're not eligible for the same amount of Social Security that would compensate for what they were making.
Who are doing this?
Corporate America.
Who?
White corporate America.
Which companies though? Can you tell me a company and it's based on them being black?
Of course it is, because they
So
were.
how about the white people that is happening to too? I know white folks where they're buying them out by asking them to retire early, especially since this whole Obamacare and all this stuff kicked in. A lot of companies can't afford to keep their workers, so they're trying to.
Can't afford it, don't want to.
They can't afford it. So
they can afford it.
Are they racist against the white ones?